Hello.
Hello. Hello. Over the past few months, people have been asking us questions. They've been wanting to know all about us. Haven't you? Yes, you?
So we decided to make a video answering some of the questions, and we hope you enjoy it.
We've enjoyed making it. It's made us think and plan ahead for next year. So, here are the questions and here are the answers. Question we've had is, how many days last year did you wear t-shirt and shorts for? Simple answer is none. Not at all.
No.
No. Far too cold, far too windy. And also, when it is a nice sunny day, we get lots of midges. Little fly things that come and bite you. So it's best to keep covered up.
I think I ended up wearing more covers when it was warm
Than
when it's cold. Ew, yes.
Another question. How many chickens do you have now? And how many eggs do you get a week on average? Well, at the moment, we have 6 chickens. 5 hens, 1 cock. We've culled a few for the freezer and to keep costs down over winter when they aren't laying. Because it's so cold and dark at the moment, they don't tend to lay over winter. So we get no eggs a week on average. We did have about 15 birds, chickens and turkeys. But when they were laying in midsummer, each will lay 1 egg a day. And they kept that through the summer months. We like fresh eggs, proper, from the garden. Just go out there, pick them, cook them, once they're still warm. Brilliant. How does ginger grow over there? Well, I don't know. Haven't tried it yet. Last time we grew ginger was down in South Wales, and we grew it indoors in a pot near the radiator, and it grew really well. It's something I want to grow more of this year, next year. So, when I find out, I'll make a video and tell you about it. Awesome. Claire wants to know if where we live is a local town for local people, or if visitors are safe. Well, it's not actually a town. It's not actually a village. It's not a village at all. All there is 1 shop and some houses and farms. So, it's very safe for local people. You know all your neighbours, you know everyone. It's a very close-knit community. As for visitors, well, come and find out. I've never seen any pitchforks yet, I haven't. So you'll be safe. Maybe. Do you have deer walking around your homestead? I know it's a typically Scottish thing to see deer walking around the Highlands, but there's none on the islands. Most we ever seem to get is the odd otter and seal walking around. Well, Flappner. Sort of crawling around, doing their ottery and sealish impressions. There's no foxes, so chickens are safe. People keep ponies and horses, but no deer, unfortunately. If we did, that would really help us fill up the freezer. Are you allowed to kill your own animals, or do you have to take them to a specific farm? Very good point. Can kill your own animals, providing you conform to DEFRA guidelines. Interesting read it is. But you can do it yourself if you have the right equipment and you follow the right welfare guidelines. You can do it for your own table. But if you want to sell the meat, then you have to go to a special abattoir. So if we did want to sell any of our sheep or anything else for other people to make a profit, then we would go to them. But for us, we do it ourselves. Are you planning on having a greenhouse next year? Well, no. Greenhouses don't tend to stand up too well in all this wind. So what we're planning on doing is turning this room by here that I'm in now into a decent conservatory area type of thing. It has windows on 3 sides and it stands up to the wind. So hopefully this will be our greenhouse, stroke, porch, conservatory area. Homebrew room. Maybe. Cheryl wants to know what the best method is for root crop varieties in the area. You dig a hole, you put your seed, potato or neep in, cover it over, and hey presto, it grows. I don't know what the best method is, apart from trial and error. But brood veg do really well in the area, especially neeps. They grow massively. It's as big as your head. So that's really good. And so easily, you just plant them, they grow. Happy days. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello you.
We didn't grow too many veg this year. It hasn't really been about the garden this year. So we didn't have a lot of veg to preserve.
No, we didn't know.
But the bits that we did find, well...
they got eaten straight away.
Not really. You made wine out of everything.
Yes, made wine out of them. So we preserved them by brewing them.
I feel like you make wine out of everything.
I do.
Yes. So, yes, mainly wine. Whatever we didn't
Brew.
Yes.
Yes.
And everything else just got frozen.
Yeah.
In the freezer.
But next year we want to try and make more pickles and preserves out of...
We've been saving the jars from jam and mayonnaise and things like that. And we will try to pickle them.
Indeed. Definitely next year.
Hopefully we'll grow more next year.
Yes.
Yes.
We will do, yeah.
It hasn't really been about the garden.
No, it's been about establishing the whole structure and how we're here and why we're here.
Yes.
What would the 5 tips you would offer to a new homesteader thinking of moving to Scotland? It's a tough one, that is, because it all comes down to who you are and what type of homestead you want to run and where you're moving to. We're up here in Orkney, so that's going to be totally different than if you wanted to move Inverness, Edinburgh, Fort William. Because each area has its own microclimates and unique soil type. So what may grow well up here won't grow well down there. For example, here rhubarb is brilliant. Fort William, it won't grow at all. So tip number 1 would be to research the area and then grow your veg based on what does grow well.
Ask local people.
Definitely. And tip number 2 would be to ask local people for their advice and input. They know. They've done it for years. They know the best varieties of veg, they know the best crops, they know the best seasonal information. So speak around, get to know people, befriend them, buy them pints down the pub, if you have a pub on the island, that is. We don't. Offer them homebrew in that case. So, listen to local advice. Tip number 3. Don't expect too much too soon. That's the mistake we made. We thought 1 year and it's going to be brilliant. It's going to be all established, we're going to have massive crops of everything. We're going to have sheep and ducks and chicken and geese and turkeys. And... That's the postman at the door. See you soon. That was the postman at the door. Anyway, as I was saying, don't expect too much in your first year. Things take time. So tip number 4. Shop locally and find the local tradesmen. They will appreciate it if you spend your money with them, and also they get to know you and your needs. So they'll help you out a lot more if you're local. Far better than going to some big firm or other. So shop locally, use local craft and tradesmen, and also eat locally. Go to the local farmers markets. Get to know what grows well. Speak to the local farmers. It's all about integrating into the community and the society that you're in. Unlike living in a big town where you have supermarkets on the door, open 24/7, where you may not actually know where the food comes from. It's far better to eat fresh and local. Tip number 5, which I think is quite important. Look after your septic tank. Last thing you want is your septic tank playing up on you. I assume that if you live in a homestead somewhere in Scotland, you won't be connected to the main sewer system. So it'll be down to you to install, maintain and look after your septic tank. So be careful what you put down the drain. Avoid bleaches and strong chemicals. Keep things as natural as you can. We use a product called Muck Munchers that we flush down once a month, and they're small little tea bag type things containing bacteria and beneficial nutrients that help the septic tank. I also put down every so often some yeast and some fermented must from home brew. That really helps the tank. I've heard of some farmers shoving in dead chicken into the septic tank every so often. That helps all the bacteria to multiply and grow and make it or eat all the stuff that goes down. Never tried that though. I wouldn't recommend it. Why waste a perfectly good chicken? Why not just eat it? So that's my 5 tips I would offer a new homesteader moving up to Scotland. Or to anywhere really. Doesn't have to be Scotland. Do you smoke your own fish? Is another question. We don't. We normally just freeze it and then have it as a main course. But there are people on the island who do smoke fish, which is lovely stuff. Far better than you can buy in any of the shops. Oh, it's Christmas time. I fancy some smoked salmon. Do you live off the land and grow all of your own vegetables? No, we don't. That was the intention when we first came over here. We wanted to be totally self-sufficient, set everything up and never buy anything. It's a nice dream, but in reality it's very hard to do. There's always going to be those things that you can't grow, and you can't grow enough of to sustain yourself properly. Especially in the first year when we were establishing and setting ourselves up. So, next year we may grow more. Year after that, we'll grow even more. It'll take time. Hopefully, by the time I retire, 30 years or so, the garden will be established enough to certainly provide 80%. Well, that's the plan anyway. What animals do you keep on your farm? And what do you don't keep next? Well, at the moment, it's only the chickens and turkeys. We did have sheep. That was an experience. A great experience. I don't think we're going to have sheep next year. They're a handful, amazingly. They like to escape and run away to the other side of the island. We need to sort the fencing out first before we have more sheep. But I wouldn't mind having bees. On Hachaidh, bees are a bit of a touchy subject because you have to have a special type that don't have some type of illness or disease. So I need to speak to a man on another island who has a few colonies of these special bees and hopefully set up a colony. You can't beat some fresh honey to make mead. That's the plan. Wouldn't mind a goat's either for milk. Make goat's cheese.
Really?
Yeah. I wouldn't mind goat's cheese.
I thought we talked about it in the sitting room.
Well, I'm not discounting the idea. It's going to be hard work, but the more I think of it, why not? We also want to keep mushrooms, don't we?
Yes,
grow mushrooms.
that was the plan all along.
Yes.
I remember telling my friends
Yeah.
about it and they were laughing saying, is it going to be magic mushrooms?
Probably not magic mushrooms, no. No. But certainly a crop of mushrooms in the shipping container.
It should
That's,
work,
yeah. It's cool, dark.
We need some hay bales for
We
that.
do, yes. Yeah. So yeah, mushrooms in the shipping container.
Back to the goats then.
Goats, yes.
Sounds hard work because you need to mate them and then milk them and stuff.
Yes.
And yes, they would give us meat as well, but
It's an idea worth toying with.
But I'm sure they're just as escapey as sheep are.
Oh, more so probably.
So therefore,
Yeah.
we
But
probably
we need the fencing first to make sure they're secure.
Ah, I see. So would you rather goat versus sheep?
Yeah,
type of
maybe.
Thing? Right.
I've
Fish
never-
would be nice.
Yeah, fish in the pond. Some carp.
Yes.
Yeah.
We could dig a little pond.
Definitely,
Put
yes.
some fish in.
So there's ideas afoot.
Oh, there's
And
always
plans.
ideas. Yes, yes.
It's just trying to work out what we want to do first. Oh dear. Next.
I think bit by bit, maybe we'll try our hand at everything and then see what works, see what doesn't work.
Yeah.
I think it's all about having fun.
It is.
So let's have fun.
Yeah. Liz, from Holding On For, wants to know if we want to keep meat for rabbits. No.
Rabbits for meat.
Rabbits for meat, yes. But to be honest, there's loads and loads of wild rabbits around here. They are everywhere.
I keep suggesting keeping them in cages to make it easier and more guaranteed. And then James goes outside and sees about 5 in 10 minutes and says, why?
You put
Why
traps
the
down,
hassle?
you shoot them, you get the dogs on them. A never-ending supply, wild, you don't need to
worry about
worry
keeping
about
them.
them,
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll just eat fresh, wild rabbit.
A never-ending supply.
Absolutely, yes.
Self-renewable resource.
Yeah. And that's the brilliant thing, is that the food is local, fresh, and on your doorstep.
I know.
It's awesome.
Oh, they do annoy the dogs because they
Oh,
can see
yes.
them through the window. So sometimes a really big rabbit would come outside and then the dogs would go mental.
Yes, wanting to
Yeah.
catch it.
I open the door and I see chase or catch. I say catch.
Catch, yeah. And then they want to come and catch, don't you? Hello. Ooh, that's what we're doing next year, maybe.
What, catching more rabbits
Catching more rabbits, keeping goats and sheep.
and mushrooms?
And mushrooms and fish. How about a cow?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty afraid of Terry's cows.
Yeah.
Andrea from Germany wants to know how far away our nearest neighbours are. So best way to demonstrate is to show you. Come on, let's have a look. Right, our neighbours are that way. It's far too windy to talk outside properly, so I thought I'd come in and voice this bit over. You can see our neighbours, the local beef farm, is all the way across those fields. It's probably about a quarter of an hour's walk to get to them. So they're close, but not too close.
Oh, cold up there.
Lee Doak has a question as well. He wants to know, what bills do we have and how do we pay them? So okie dokie, Lee Dokie. Well, we have all the usual ones you'd expect. Your council tax, your electricity, your water, your food, internet, very important, telephone line, all that stuff as normal. However, council tax is so much cheaper up here than it is anywhere down south. Tiny, tiny, tiny. So that's really good. And as for food, we grow our own. So when this world starts spinning, we don't have that much to pay really, which is a blessing. We've reduced our overheads right the way down. We have some free electricity from the local wind turbine that provides heating and hot water. So that's awesome. So, it's all good. And how do I pay for it? Well, I work. I have a job at the local fish farm, and that keeps me busy. And that's more than enough to cover the bills. Another question someone else has asked us is, now what was it? Was your first year at the homestead expensive? Did you have to buy a lot of stuff? We didn't. A lot of the stuff we had was given to us for free, which was very nice. Or we inherited, or we found, or we made. So actually setting up the homestead wasn't too expensive. I did have to buy a spade because I lost mine somewhere. Pretty much we had all the chickens and turkeys for free. The furniture was donated. So we haven't had to have bought a lot really, which is awesome. Fantastic. Al from MacLeod Brewery in Monmouthshire, fab beer by the way mate, wants to know where the nearest takeaway is. That's a very good question. There isn't one on the island, which means we have to either fly or sit on a ferry for an hour and a half to get one. I only tend to have a takeaway once every year or so, just because I don't really eat takeaways anymore. It's partly because we can't get to them, and secondly, I'd rather cook from scratch. Proper food, real food that I can control and eat for myself. Well, cook for myself and eat, and I know the ingredients and know where it came from. Local produce, fresh, proper, tasty. That's what I like. So, cheers Sal, good beer. It's getting dark. Time for one last question before the sun goes down. And along the same lines it is, where is the nearest hospital? And if there's an emergency, what would you do? Well, that's a good point. The hospital is over in Kirkwall on the mainland. Again, have to fly to it or take a ferry. So not ideal, but there are 2 brilliant nurses on the island. Fantastic, they're nurse practitioners, awesome. And we do have a med centre, and they will patch us up, and then maybe, if we need it, air ambulance to the mainland. Touch wood, never needed that yet. Awesome. I do fancy a ruby Murray now.
Hoping you enjoyed the video and found it interesting.
Informative. If you have any more questions, let us know.
Also, a good chance to say thank you to everyone who's been following us for the last year.
Absolutely.
And everyone who's found us just recently. Welcome. And we hope...
See you next year.
Oh, we have so many hopes.
We do. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Ta-ra.
Anyway, take care. Bye.